All right, yeah, good first scrimmage a couple nights ago. Thought the guys handled it well. We were able to get a lot of reps, which was really good. We had close to 90 team reps. It was pretty much an offensive and defensive based scrimmage. We worked a few of the special teams. Those weren't competitive yet. We're not quite to that point in the install. So got a chance to really look at just about everybody on the roster. So there are definitely some standouts from the scrimmage. Defensively, Zion Branch had a pick six and a fumble recovery, a forced fumble. Really showed up well. Thought he made some outstanding plays. He was definitely, probably you asked me one guy that really stood out in it. It was certainly Zion, and pretty cool with his story, and didn't have the ideal start to a career with the injury, and just kind of fighting back from that physically and mentally. So it's been cool to see him, really gain some momentum here the last several practices. Overall, a lot of back and forth. Defensively, certainly had the upper hand overall in the scrimmage. There were some bright moments, but a lot of inconsistency out of the offense, and thought defensively made less mistakes and made more plays overall. So, camp has kind of been like that. It's been a lot of back and forth. Kind of one side slightly has the upper hand one day, and then it seems to go back and forth, which typically your best teams, that's a characteristic of it. Came out of the scrimmage pretty healthy, which is always a good thing when you go that many live snaps. And I was pretty pleased with our tackling. A lot of times the first scrimmage, the tackling is a weak area, just because you're out there in the open field truly for a number of snaps, and it's not thud. You're not blowing a whistle, and I thought we did a nice job in space, limiting some of the big plays offensively. So, I think we're kind of that week now with our mock game week coming up next week. This is a big week for our guys. A lot of the reps that you're going to start putting into the different groups, offensively, defensively, and special teams, are going to start to narrow here towards the end of this week. And so for guys that want to kind of stake their claim of why they should be on the field, like this is go time, right? This is it. And the interesting thing is, we certainly have, compared to 12 months back, I mean, there is certainly more position battles right now. There are more positions where you look at it like, man, I could see this going several different directions. Just a healthier, more talented roster overall, and using the word healthy in terms of having a lot of competition and that competitive depth that we've talked about really all off season. You see that. And so I think whether it's guys that were here on our team last year, whether it's newcomers, what it took maybe to get on the field, certainly in some specific positions, it's a little bit different definition this time around, right? And there's no assumptions on what guys did at another school or what guys did here or anywhere else, and we've really tried to stress that to guys. It's going to be based on what we're seeing on this field right now, and so a lot of battles and a lot of good players on the field, which we're excited about, and obviously this is going to move quick into mock game week, and this will be a big stretch. We'll practice here for the next several days, and then really kind of conclude our camp with a scrimmage this Saturday.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Sierra Wright and how he is progressing and your hopes for him?
Yeah, he's in a really good place mentally. His competitiveness is so much different. He's just highly motivated, highly competitive. He's very confident right now. I mean, he's invested in it, and he's worked hard at it, and it is what it's created is a guy that comes out and the performance is there day in and day out. And even when he has a bad play, they're not that bad. And that's such a key thing, right? There's winning, but also learning how not to lose. And he has really kind of mastered that, where good plays are good, but the bad plays are not that far off. And that's what you want to see. His consistency is really, has just grown and grown. And I give the kid a lot of credit for how much he's invested into it.
Lincoln, you recruited Bear early on at Oklahoma too. What was evident about him just as a prospect even then, and what do you see in him maybe now that has changed or developed since then?
Yeah, I mean, early on, we liked the kid's personality. We enjoyed being around him. He's got a unique story and background, and has had to persevere through a lot. And so I've always respected him that way. I think young, you could see. You see kind of the twitchiness, but in a big body, and you feel like he could really develop into something. And he's definitely you know, he's certainly gotten bigger. He's gotten a little more fundamentally sound since obviously we were recruiting him in high school. But I think he's, at least early in his career, started to develop into, you know, what you felt like he could be at that point. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. You know, even sitting there a couple years ago, I'm not surprised to see him on the path to becoming a really good player. And with the high ceiling, I probably wouldn't have believed you if you had told me that time I'd be coaching him at USC. But here we are. Right?
What would you say are the tightest position battles right now? And if the defense dominated the scrimmage, is the O-line a concern or a struggle?
Well, D-line certainly won the day in the scrimmage. That hasn't. It's been, I would say, more back and forth in the days. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, right now we can roll through several groups on the D-line, and there's not a ton of drop off, and there's kind of constant pressure in terms of the O-line having to perform, which is good. And so I think the back and forth has been awesome. First part of the question?
The tightest position battles?
Yeah, tightest position battles. Man, I mean, I think running back, I would say every receiver position. I would say defensive line reps. I mean, I think we know some guys are going to play, but is it going to be, you know, a third? Is it going to be half? You're going to be a starter? You're going to be a 2? You're going to be a 3? Inside linebacker for sure. Free safety, both corner positions. I mean, a lot. And that's a lot more. If I'd answered this question truthfully, last year at this time, there wouldn't have been quite that many.
Does that mean you're still in that 50-50 category with some players where they have to prove it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And again, in a very healthy way. I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's guys that, man, you can make a case for them being a starter, and you can make a case for them being a 3. And I mean, there's just, again, some of the areas are deep, and that's good. I think it's going to allow us to, you know, withstand all that comes at you through the season, withstand injuries as they come up. You know, be able to get personnel on to take advantage of certain matchups, whether it's any side of the ball. But yeah, I mean, our guys feel the sense of urgency. I mean, give you an example. There's a number of guys on this roster that played significant snaps right now that feel a incredible sense of urgency of, I got to go like now, and that's good. Like that's the only way you get better at something. And so I think our guys have responded well to it. I don't think it's been taken as a negative, but you can feel the pressure out there for sure.
Lincoln, it seems like Zach Branch has gotten a lot of snaps so far, you know, with the first team at wide receiver, and that's a particularly crowded position group as well. Just what have you seen from him as a freshman, kind of asserting himself amidst that?
Yeah, he's had reps equal 1s, 2s, and 3s. I mean, he's bounced around all over the place. He's done a good job. I mean, we haven't had Taj for a couple of days, and so, you know, really, you know, Zach, Raleigh, Mario, some of those guys have really, you know, benefited and gotten a lot of reps. I mean, all 3 of those guys, we've had to try to find them some chances to get breaks. So they're getting so much, which is fantastic for all of them, especially guys like Raleigh and Zach that are, you know, that are young, that are new, sort of early on in their careers. Yeah, Zach's handling it well. He's a lot. You could tell he was here for spring, right? You could tell he got all those reps. He's getting way more consistent and dependable in his job, and I think has a much clearer idea of what it takes. Spring was a good realization for him. He made plays, but he also went through just kind of the freshman struggles that you do, and so been much improved this time around.
Let's do one more.
Who stood out to you on offense in the scrimmage in particular?
You know, Tarquin had a really good scrimmage up front. Miller had a really good scrimmage. Recovered well. He had a turnover early and then played really clean after that. Thought he came back well. Jacoby Lane had a really nice scrimmage. Had a couple really good catches, some big time plays. Lake had a couple really nice plays. Those are the ones off the top of my head.
Thank you, Coach Riley.